satisfying moments in these 20 years? If you can, take a few and then...
Yeah, I can mention 2-3 of them. The first one, it was 1999. We became the first ISO certified training organization in Pune. That was one. The second one, when we signed partnership with the Japanese company, and we had a very severe situation of cash flow, and we signed a partnership. And I talked to my Japanese partner, said that since we are signing a partnership and we want to have a new infrastructure, and that's the first time I lied, which I feel bad, but it was with the right intention. I said that we would require 20 lakh rupees to raise infrastructure. As soon as we got 20 lakh rupees, I used it to a great extent to pay the salaries, which I never told him even today. But made sure that whatever the promises that we had given to the partner, we kept all those promises and returned that 20 lakh rupees subsequently. But we misused it. The point here is, we signing a partnership with a Japanese company was one of the important, we were extremely happy because first time we never dreamed about Japan as a country. I never thought about Japan, and it happened. So I am still wondering how they came and how it happened. And of late when I'm reading quantum physics and law of attraction, and maybe the nature conspires. And the third one, in 2006, when Times of India invested 10% equity with us, and a fourth one, the recent one, in 2011 September, we got $7 million for the further growth from Ashmore Alchemy, a UK-based fund. So these are the prominent things which on the top of the mind, which I would share. There are many.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and I'm sure that they make you proud because you have built this organization in the last 20 years. Now, I would like to also ask you, during tough times, I'm sure you have faced ups and downs in your journey as an entrepreneur. Where do you derive your inspiration from, particularly in tough times?
With the experience of 2001, 2002, which I shared with you, when I was thoroughly confused, went through severe stress, never had any physical problem. I'm absolutely fit. For last 4 years, I've stopped taking medicines also. Occasionally, I used to take some painkiller when I had a headache. So, the foundation which got created from the age of 15 when I went to Ramakrishna Mission and started doing meditation is one of the greatest strengths that I have. Irrespective of all the stress, I sleep, I get a sound sleep. I never had a problem of sleepless nights. Occasionally it happens, within no time I go to bed and have a great sleep. Point number 2, this whole education system, upbringing in home, school, etc. Unfortunately, we are not taught about how to handle stress. Fortunately, in the spiritual practices, it happens. And as a part of the interaction, maybe I would like to share some scientific biological details, if you allow. Is that okay? Is the right time?
Yeah, absolutely.
In the last 2 to 3 years, as my hobby, I'm reading about brain. And believe me, in next 10 years, the whole world would get dramatically changed by the research which is happening in neurology. So the point which came about the stressful situation and how do you handle. A very quick background about brain. We have 3 brains in our brain: a reptilian brain, mammalian brain, and a human brain. As the evolution happened in the last millions of years, the nature when it evolved, they were reptiles long years back, and they had a small brain. We still have that brain inside our brain. Then over lakhs of years, there was another brain that got created by the nature, which the mammals have, and that's called as a mammalian brain. And there is a seat of emotions. What are the emotions that we experience? There are many colors of emotions that we have. Those emotions, not all are being experienced by animals, but that time nature added a component called as amygdala, a small component in the brain. This component called as amygdala is a component which has been given to the human beings or to the animals for protection. Nature has only 2 priorities or 2 objectives from any animal: reproduction and survival. So amygdala is a component given by the nature for survival. What it does, whenever it sees a threat, there is a function that happens called as amygdala hijack. What it does, it completely jams or hijacks your rational brain, which thinks logically, which does visualization, which does analysis and all that. Because when you are in a threatful situation, when there is some threat, then your rational brain should not work because you have to protect yourself. And that time, in amygdala hijack, there are two chemicals that get secreted, cortisol and adrenaline. As soon as there is a cortisol secretion and adrenaline secretion, your heart starts pounding. You start sweating. And there are three responses: fight, flight, and freeze. In this process, in this duration, which goes on for 3 to 4 hours possibly, the human beings cannot think rationally. Coming back to the stress, whenever we experience stress, especially the entrepreneurs, if they are aware of how the brain works, you can immediately act on that to release the stress. I'll tell you one simple thing which actually comes from pranayam, but all the scientists and business coaches also have started using it. It's called as square breathing. So as soon as you realize that you are in a stress, please note that in your brain, the cortisol and adrenaline has secreted, your blood pressure has gone up, your muscle strength has increased so that you can fight with the situation. But that's a bad situation because you can't think rationally. You just can't think of innovative solutions to address a problem. So if you just do 10 breaths, deep inhaling, hold for some time, exhale slowly and hold, having exhaled completely, and if you do 10 such cycles inside your brain, the amygdala hijack releases, and that opens up your rational brain again so that for a problem you can think of solutions. In any problem, what I've realized, that's my experience, it is not resources which are important. Like even if you have funds, the funds get just evaporated if you do not use them properly. It is your resourcefulness which matters than the resources. What was the experience in 2002-2008 recession? If you are resourceful, even if you don't have resources, you can manage them. And that is possible provided you can use your rational brain, the creative brain. And that is possible provided you can handle stress. And there are a number of techniques of handling stress. Square breathing or pranayam could be one of them, and meditation, and there are many others which can be used. So, to coming back to the point, in all the stress situations, this is what I naturally was doing, and when I of late read about brain and going in the depth, that is really helping. I'm also trying to preach it to my employees and make them understand what is happening in your brain, and if you can handle it carefully, you can really handle stress within no time.
Thank you so much for sharing so many complex details. It is very simple and it's wonderful. Maybe we should have a separate program on brain theory.
I would love to do that.
I would like to ask you if you would like to narrate any incidents which kind of can be treated as a turning point in your career.
In this last 18-19 years?
Yes.
The experience of recession and we coming out of recession, and when we saw many companies which were 10 to 100 times larger than us, when they collapsed and they never came up, was a turning point for us, because we realized that we have something different than most of them, because they had huge amount of money, they had huge funds, and the funds got just, they burnt those funds within no time, without realizing that it is just not money that matters, but the strength of your employees which matters. So that was a turning point for me. That gave me immense confidence that if I have come out of this situation, I can do anything. That was a belief that got instilled in my mind. Second one, it was 2008, it was a month of December. We were on the verge of signing a term sheet attracting 16 crore rupees for the further growth. And we got a mail from the fund, it's a US-based fund, that we are not going ahead. And the next day we got a news that Lehman Brothers collapsed. And immediately, most of the funds, those who had signed the term sheets, they started withdrawing. We were one of them. With the experience of 2002 recession, we were alert and we handled it very elegantly. In 2009, the recession was continuing. We started taking decisions much faster than what we did in 2002. We did the first salary cut, the second cut, the third cut, addressed all the employees very boldly in front of them. This is a situation. If we conserve the cash, we can survive, otherwise we will die. And in this whole process, I started realizing that my thinking process is going in a wrong direction. I'm continuously thinking, slow down, recession, and that's not going to be solving the problem. I was traveling to Mumbai, and suddenly a spark came to my mind, saying that if I change my thinking process,